Hello and welcome, our blood viewers, to RTD's News English edition. As usual, we begin our news with the top and major headlines for tonight. Djibouti mission honored with Gold Award for Organizational Excellence, Hajj 2026. Djibouti lays the foundations for a new sporting ambition, national sports policy for the year 2047. And on the international scene, negotiations open in Switzerland between the United States and Iran. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The fourth edition of the Marrakesh Parliamentary Economic Forum has concluded. After 2 days of intensive and productive work, bringing together delegations from the Mediterranean and Gulf region, held under the high patronage of His Majesty King Mohammed VI. The forum helped strengthen the foundations of solid parliamentary cooperation in addressing contemporary economic challenges. Djibouti's parliamentary delegation, led by the President of the National Assembly, Mr. Deleita Mohamed Deleita, took an active part in the closing sessions, underlining Djibouti's strategic role as a logistics hub and a driver of regional economic integration. The session also registered tangible diplomatic progress. The Djiboutian parliamentary delegation left Marrakesh stressing that parliamentary dialogue is essential to facilitating international exchange. In another context, the Ministry of Health today held a workshop to present the strategic reflections of the future National Health Development Plan, known in short as PNDS, for 2026 up to 2030. The session was chaired by the Ministry of Health, Madam Muna Usman Aden, and attended by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Mohammed Ali Mohammed, the World Health Organization representative in Djibouti, and representatives of United Nations agencies, including UNICEF and the UN Population Fund, along with the technical and financial partners, government ministries, civil society, and of course the private sector. The workshop brought together all key stakeholders in the sector to promote a participatory, inclusive, and collaborative approach. Discussions focused on the strategic priorities that will guide work in the health sector over the next 5 years, in line with Djibouti Vision 2035, the National Development Plan ADEC 2025-2030, and the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Participants exchanged their experiences, recommendations, and contributions to help shape the future National Health Development Plan and ensure it better meets the population's needs. On the occasion, the Minister reaffirmed the government's commitment to continuing efforts to build a more efficient, inclusive, and resilient healthcare system prepared to meet future challenges. The outcomes of this workshop will help establish national synergies around the key strategic directions of the National Health Development Plan for 2026-2030, which will serve as the framework for healthcare development in the country in the years ahead. In her opening remarks, the Minister of Health, Madam Muna Usman Aden, underlined the importance of this workshop, which marks a decisive step in drafting the future National Health Development Plan for 2026-2030. Under the patronage of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs and Regional Endowments, Mr. Mumin Hassan Bari, the Minister of Islamic Affairs and Regional Endowments, this Sunday morning celebrated the awarding of the Gold Prize to Djibouti's Hajj Affairs Office by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in recognition of its excellence in caring for pilgrims to the Holy House of God during the 2026 Hajj season. The occasion also included tribute to members of the office and the official announcement of arrangements for the 2027 Hajj season. The ceremony was held at the People's Palace and attended by numerous government members, officials of the official Hajj mission, religious and community figures, and a large gathering of guests who took part in celebrating the achievement, reflecting the competence of national personnel and their ability to manage the Hajj season according to the highest organizational and service standards. Djibouti received this prestigious award at the close of the Hajj session in Mecca, where it was collected by the Ministry of Islamic Affairs and Religious Endowments, Mr. Mumin Hassan Bari, in recognition of the role played by Hajj Affairs Office in securing essential services for pilgrims and accompanying them throughout the stages of the pilgrimage rites. During the ceremony, guests watched a video presentation highlighting a key moment of the Hajj season and the services of facilities provided by the official mission of the Djiboutian pilgrims in the holy sites. The presentation also featured moving testimonies from a number of pilgrims who expressed their satisfaction with the level of organization and quality of care they received from their departure from the country until their return.
buuru dheer iyo jararka dhaadhacay inta dhacdatiya oon dhul ilaa ku soo maray intay dhagax ku tuureen nebiga intay dhaawac yeeleen nuurkii intay dhiigka daasheen habeenkii dhawaaqiyo waxyi ku soo dhacay ee sidaa dhile inna xusuula albicثة.
The ceremony also provided the occasion for the official announcement of arrangements for the 1448 Hijri Hajj season corresponding to 2027. The ministry presented an overview of the main standards of upcoming preparations, affirming its continued commitment to development efforts and the adoption of modern practices aimed at improving service quality and operational efficiency. For his part, the Minister of Islamic Affairs and Religious Endowments, Mr. Mu'min Hassan Bari, said the gold prize is a source of pride for the whole of Djibouti, reflecting the dedication and excellence of national personnel in serving the guests of God. The ceremony, of course, closed with the presentation of certificates of recognition to members of the Djibouti's Hajj Affair Office and official mission in recognition of their efforts and outstanding contributions to the success of the Hajj season. A season crowned by Djibouti's outstanding contribution to the success of the Hajj season, recipient of gold category of the prize. The event was marked by a festive atmosphere of pride in a national achievement that adds to Djibouti's continuing record of success in serving pilgrims to the Holy House of God and confirms the country's growing standing in this field at both the regional and Islamic levels. Djibouti took a historic step in structuring and developing its sporting activities with the official launch of a national workshop dedicated to drafting the national sports policy for 2047. The event, organized by the State Secretariat for Sport and Djibouti's National Olympic and Sports Committee, was held at the Sheraton Djibouti under the ambition banner of building a modern, inclusive, and high-performing national sports sector by 2047. The opening ceremony was attended by the Secretary of State for Sport, Mrs. Fatouma Ali Abdallah, the Minister of Youth and Culture, Mrs. Fardousa Musa, and the Ministry of Health, Mrs. Muna Usman Aden. The national gathering also brought together a large number of senior government officials, representatives of national institutions, military and security authorities, United Nations partners, academics, presidents of sports federation, public administration officials, civil society activists, and guests of honor. The workshop marks the starting point of a broad process aimed at providing Djibouti with a clear strategic vision for the development of sport over the next 2 decades. This vision aligns fully with Djibouti Vision 2047, which places human capital, youth, and sport among the core pillars of national development. To support the initiative, Djiboutian authorities enlisted the international expertise of a permanent Tunisian specialist in sports policy and management. His task is to help the various stakeholders draft a strategic document that reflects the country's realities with incorporating international best practices. The workshop presented a comprehensive in-depth overview of sport in Djibouti, identifying challenges and outlining strategic directions for the coming years. For her part, the Minister of Youth and Culture, Mrs. Fardousa, said the launch of this national workshop to draft the national sports policy marks an important milestone on the path to building a better future for Djibouti's young people. The Secretary of State for Sport, Mrs. Fatouma Ali Abdallah, underlined in her remarks the importance of this national workshop dedicated to drafting the national sports policy for 2047. We now turn to this report, which sheds light on the history of Djibouti's fallen freedom fighters. Many men and women have shaped the history of Djibouti through their courage and sacrifice. Their names may not always appear in history books, but their struggle paved the way for the independence of the Republic of Djibouti. The story of Djibouti's liberation is one of resistance. It is a story preserved in collective memory and sacred throughout historical archive. From the arrival of the first French colonizers in Oboch in 1862 to the final years before independence, generations of Djiboutians paid the ultimate price in the fight for freedom. From the very beginning of colonial rule, tensions emerged between local communities and the colonial administration. One of the earliest victims was Ali Hamid, regarded as the first martyr of Djibouti's colonial history. He was killed simply for exercising his freedom of movement in a territory the French has begun to claim as their own. His death sparked one of the first political crises of the colonial era. In 1882, French explorer Pierre Arnaud, who had established a commercial post in Oboh, was killed by local inhabitants. Shortly afterwards, another Djiboutian lost his life under different circumstances. This incident reflected the growing hostility and mistrust between the colonizers and the indigenous population. During the 1930s, colonial expansion extended deeper into the country's interior. Traditional leaders who resisted foreign control faced severe consequences. Sultan Luaita Humad of Gub'ad was deported to Madagascar, where he died in exile. Other chiefs who challenged colonial authorities were also removed from their lands. The construction and protection of the railway line disrupted the lives of many communities. People were displaced, grazing lands were threatened, and nomadic routes were restricted. Many sacrificed their lives defending their livelihoods and ancestral territories. In 1918, local leaders denounced the exclusion of indigenous people from political and economical life. Colonial policies often deepened divisions among communities through a strategy of divide and rule, leaving lasting scars on society. The year 1949 marked another painful chapter. Riots broke out to demand the release of Hassan Hamfari, who had imprisoned by the colonial administration, although he was eventually freed. Several demonstrators lost their lives during the uprising. The struggle for independence was also carried forward by trade unionists and political leaders. Among them was Mahmoud Harbi, a leading nationalist figure and the vice president of the government council. He championed self-determination and campaigned against Djibouti's continued association with France during 1958 referendum. Following the victory of the pro-French camp, Mahmoud Harbi left the territory and lived in exile in Somalia and later Egypt. He died in a plane crash under circumstances that remain the subject of debate. In the 1960s, a new generation of activists intensified the fight for independence. Political movements demanding freedom faced repression, arrests, and imitation. In August 1966, demonstrations erupted during the visit of General Charles de Gaulle. Protesters openly challenged colonial rule. The response was swift and violent. Around 10 people were killed and many others wounded at Place Lagare. The unrest continued in March 1967 after a referendum that many nationalists considered fraudulent. Demonstrations calling for immediate independence spread to Djibouti City. Colonial authorities responded with even harsher measures, targeting political leaders and activists associated with nationalist parties. Trade unionist Abdurrahman Andol became another symbol of this repression. His association reflected the growing authorization of the colonial administration. Many Djiboutians also suffered behind the walls of detention centers. Men, women, and children were arrested in large numbers, often held in inhuman conditions, exposed to extreme heat, hunger, and thirst. The final years before independence brought new sacrifices. During the Tajara events of 1976, Muhammad Humad, known as Dudu, was killed after being shot in the head. The same year, the Luaida hostage crisis claimed more lives. Several Djiboutians were killed near the border during the intervention of French special forces. Among them were Hassan, known as Gulist, Salah Jama Awale, Hussein Abdullah Abdurrahman, and Hassan Roble. On 27th of June 1977, Djibouti finally achieved its independence. But independence came at a cost. Many murders remain unknown. Others endured imprisonment, torture, dismissal from their jobs, and countless forms of humiliation because they dared to dream of a free Djibouti. Remembering their sacrifice is more than an act of tribute. It is a duty. Their stories remind us that the freedom enjoyed today was won through courage, resilience, and the unwavering determination of generations who refused to surrender their hopes for an independent nation. As part of support for the transport sector, the government is easing the impact of rising fuel prices in the Balbala municipality. Aimed rising fuel prices and the difficulties facing the transport sector, the state has decided to take concrete measures to support public transport workers, such as bus and taxi drivers. In this context, Djibouti's Bus Drivers Union has launched a program to distribute diesel fuel vouchers to drivers of Bajaj, three-wheel tricycles, small vehicles known locally as tuk-tuks. This initiative, fully funded by the state, aims to limit the impact of raising fuel prices and ensure the continuity of transport services for the population. These drivers play a vital role in every day in the movement of thousands of citizens, particularly in the municipality of Balbala. For the authorities, this measure represents a swift and necessary response to prevent any disruption to the public transport network and to ensure smooth mobility for all. The president of the Balbala municipality, Mr. Mohammed Hassan, delivered remarks in which he extended his sincere thanks, his appreciation to the President of the Republic for his ongoing attention to citizens' living conditions and his continued supporting various visual sectors. In the Ali Sibih region, written examinations for the secondary school completion certificate began today at the two examination centers located in the Holhol and Ali Adde refugee camps. The exam marks the culmination of secondary education for students residing in the two camps. A total of 227 candidates registered for this session, all of them secondary graduates. In line with the commitment to providing education for all, the Ministry of National Education provides full educational support to children of refugee families in the village of Ali Adde and Holhola. An official delegation comprising representatives of the villages of Holhol and Ali Adde, the director of the Holhol Training Center, the regional director of education Ali Sibih, and the coordinator of the refugee schools project visited the examination centers this morning to ensure the exams ran smoothly. The delegation commended the smooth conduct of the examinations and praised the efforts of teaching staff as well as the determination shown by the students. The Ministry of Education wishes all students success at this decisive step and stage of their academic journey. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, a new round of negotiations between the United States and Iran opened Sunday at the Bunker Stock Complex in Switzerland, aimed at ending the war in the Middle East. The talks come 4 days after the two sides signed a memorandum of understanding and 114 days after the conflict erupted. The Netherlands secured a crushing 5-1 victory over Sweden in the second match of Group 6 at the 2026 World Cup. This decisive win confirms the Dutch side's strong form and boosts its chances of advancing to the next round. The Netherlands dominated play from the outtest, improving its effective attacking style throughout the match. Sweden could only manage a single goal against the Dutch side that found the net 5 times, cementing its stature as one of the leading contenders to the top of the group. In Group 5, Germany continued its winning run, defeating Ivory Coast 2-1. Germany sealed the match despite resistance from the Ivorian side throughout the game. Well, by this, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more as usual. Have a wonderful evening and take care. Thank you.